Indigenous laws and land rights. Indigenous communities across North and South America have long practiced unique governance systems that prioritize land stewardship, sustainability, and collective well-being. Their traditional laws and land rights reflect a deep relationship with nature, contrasting sharply with Western legal frameworks based on land ownership and resource exploitation. In this section, we will explore concepts of land stewardship versus land ownership, legal recognition of Indigenous land claims, how Indigenous governance supports sustainability, concepts of land stewardship versus land ownership. Many Indigenous cultures do not see land as something to be owned, but rather as something to be cared for and shared across generations. Stewardship versus ownership. Indigenous land stewardship. Land is seen as a living entity with rights. Western land ownership. Land is a commodity that can be bought, sold, and exploited. Indigenous land stewardship. Humans are caretakers of the land, ensuring future generations inherit a thriving environment. Western land ownership. Individuals and companies have exclusive control over land and its resources. Indigenous land stewardship emphasizes balance and respect with nature, avoiding overuse. Western land ownership encourages maximum resource extraction for profit. Indigenous land stewardship. Land is often shared collectively by a tribe, clan, or community. Western land ownership. Land is privately owned, often fenced off and restricted. In many Indigenous worldviews, humans do not own the land, but rather belong to the land. They are responsible for maintaining harmony with nature. Sacred and ancestral land. Many Indigenous groups have sacred sites connected to their origin stories, ceremonies, and identity. These lands are often threatened by deforestation, mining, and urban development. Stewardship practices ensure that these lands are protected and respected for future generations. Legal recognition of Indigenous land claims. Despite centuries of colonization, Indigenous communities have fought to reclaim their lands and legal rights. Today, some governments have recognized these claims, but challenges remain. Examples of Indigenous land rights struggles. North America, Canada, and U.S. Many Indigenous nations have signed treaties with governments, though they were often broken or manipulated. Some land has been returned through court victories, such as the Nisga'a Treaty, Canada. The Nisga'a people won self-governance and land title recognition. The Black Hills Dispute, U.S. The Lakota Sioux refused to accept money for land stolen from them. Amazon rainforest, Brazil, Peru, Colombia. Indigenous tribes like the Yanomami and Ashaninka have fought against illegal logging and mining. Brazilian policies have granted Indigenous land protections, but these are constantly threatened by industry. Mexico and Central America. The Napatista movement, Mexico, fights for Indigenous land rights and self-governance. The Maya have successfully reclaimed communal land in Guatemala. Andean region, Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru. Indigenous groups have secured constitutional recognition of their rights. Example, Bolivia's 2009 constitution. Land rights movements challenging mining and oil extraction that threaten ecosystems. International legal protections. Several international agreements support Indigenous land rights, including United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, 2007, recognizes Indigenous peoples' right to own, use, and protect their land. Calls for free, prior, and informed consent before any development on Indigenous land. International Labor Organization, Convention number 169, requires governments to recognize and protect Indigenous land rights. National Park Co-Management, various countries. Some Indigenous groups now co-manage national parks, ensuring land is preserved through traditional knowledge. Ongoing challenges. Corporate interests and resource extraction. Logging, mining, and oil companies often violate Indigenous rights. Government resistance. Many governments are slow to recognize land claims. Legal complexity. Indigenous legal systems differ from Western laws, making it hard to enforce rights. Despite these challenges, Indigenous activism continues to reclaim ancestral lands and protect ecosystems. How Indigenous governance supports sustainability. Unlike many Western governance models, Indigenous governance is often based on consensus-based decision-making, long-term environmental planning, respect for elders and traditional knowledge. Key aspects of Indigenous governance. Feature consensus-based decision-making. Decisions are made collectively, ensuring community input rather than imposed by a single leader. Elders as knowledge keepers. Elders guide governance by sharing traditional ecological knowledge and wisdom. Land use planning for generations. Indigenous governance considers the next 7 generations, ensuring sustainability. Restorative justice. Disputes are solved through mediation and restoration, not punishment. Example, the Haudenosaunee Iroquois Confederacy, one of the oldest democratic systems in the world, uses a great law of peace, emphasizing sustainability. The 7th generation principle ensures decisions consider long-term environmental impacts. Example, Indigenous governance in the Amazon. Many Amazonian tribes self-govern their territories using rotational farming, controlled burns, and reforestation. Indigenous governance protects 80% of the world's biodiversity, despite making up only 5% of the global population. Indigenous-led conservation efforts. The Yurok tribe, California, reintroduced condors and fought for river protection. The Sapara Nation, Ecuador, successfully blocked oil drilling in their rainforest home. The Mapuche people, Chile and Argentina, have reclaimed forests from logging companies. Conclusion. Indigenous laws and governance provide a model of sustainable land management that contrasts with Western land ownership systems. Key takeaways. Indigenous land stewardship prioritizes sustainability over ownership. Legal battles for land rights continue across the Americas with successes and ongoing struggles. Indigenous governance models focus on community, environmental responsibility, and long-term planning.